Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Stuff Korea does right that America desperately needs.
Hello friends and family, this is Megan Moon, aka Chandler 미국 사람. 입니다. Over my 13 years in Korea, there have been so many things that I think just make so much sense that I wish that we had in the US. Now, I've been out of the US for so long, some of these things could have appeared there, and some of these things could be in different states, I guess, but they weren't in the states and areas that I lived in. So let's get into some useful, practical, and very interesting things in South Korea.
I wonder.
So the very first one is something that I've only started to notice recently. They've really ramped it up, and that is safety bathrooms. As you know, in Korea, there are some concerns over women's safety in public places, and so the bathrooms nowadays have so many safety features. Let me go over them with you. The first feature that I love is the 여성 안심 color, the woman's safety mirror, and that is a huge mirror that they have outside of the door, so that as you're going in, you could see if there's anyone lurking or creeping behind you when you go into the bathroom. On top of that, there's at least 2 signs outside that say this is a safety bathroom. This bathroom will alert the police if anything happens. Like, don't be trying to attack women in this bathroom. You're gonna get caught, basically. When you
That's interesting. So what is is that dangerous for women in South Korea?
I think in general speaking, like,
Do you
as
have
a
do you
woman,
have this fear?
yeah, because as a woman, when you're walking, you have to make sure you should be vigilant of your surroundings. Don't just walk around with no purpose. You do have to walk a certain way because people could try to mess with you. So I do see this as a pretty good feature. Like, I like that they have a mirror to see who's behind you, because when you typically go to a bathroom or a room and you think you're by yourself, you check to see, okay, who else gonna be around in the area, you know?
Interesting. I mean,
Because men look for an opportunity. Anybody look for an opportunity to try something.
it's not an expensive way to implement. Could do it. Yeah, it's
Even
not big deal.
even like in a park, there's instances where you should check all the stalls to make sure if someone's hiding, or if there's someone who's
In
not
the
supposed.
park?
Yeah, in the park restrooms,
Oh,
to make sure someone is not hiding, or there's no one like who can do harm to you.
I mean, but what if they're just taking a shit?
Well, then okay, they can be, but you want to make sure, okay, who's in the restroom? You want to be aware.
You go into the bathroom right near the front. There's a huge button, an emergency button that you press, and it connects to the police right away. It's connected to a big, huge siren outside of the bathroom that lights up and spins around so everybody knows something is going down in this bathroom. Now, I tried to film the bathroom on my phone, but there is something in the bathroom that turns off your camera, and this scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh no, I hope it doesn't like alert the police and they're gonna come here looking for me thinking I'm trying to like film women in the bathroom. I was filming this, and the moment I turned on the camera and went past it, my whole screen just lit up and it turned my phone off. And I was like, oh, okay, let me not try that again to test it out. Not only is there big buttons near the front, but
That's
also
interesting.
every single stall has a button in it. And the big bathrooms that are
That's
sort of made
good.
for handicapped people with all the extra space, they even have buttons on different levels. So if somebody pushes you over and you're on the floor and you're crawling, there's literally a button right on the floor level so you can push it. They were like, we are covering all of our bases here. And I am here for it. I think it's kind of sad that we need it in the first place, but it definitely makes me feel much safer. The safety is on point. So the next thing in Korea that just makes sense and is so great
Because
is
what I would say, places that are not safe is like in parking lots. So like when you're leaving the grocery store and you're trying to load your car, you want to make sure there's like people are like not around that's gonna try to attack you. Parks, gyms, a lot of places, honestly.
Korean skincare. It contains ingredients that are not harmful, and it really does help to repair, keep your skin healthy, keep the pores small, keep the skin lustrous, and keep you staying very youthful. So if you're new and you don't know my skincare routine, let's go over it
I
together.
have
Of
heard
course,
like
she had to do his.
she does have great skin though, so it's working for her. But I have heard in general that
all the information
Korean beauty skincare is really, really, really good.
We have Korean skincare though. You can get it here. I'm sure it's a little more expensive than regular because no import and now with the tariffs. Yeah, but it's available.
will be down below.
Her
Now
skin
back
looks
to the
nice.
video. The next thing that makes a lot of sense in Korea, I didn't even know we didn't have in America just because I never took that many elevators, so I didn't pay attention to it. I thought all elevators were like that. But everybody I talked to who came from America, either to visit me, was so surprised by it. So I'm like, I guess this is not a thing that we have in America. Elevators, when you press a button and it's the wrong floor, you press it again and it cancels.
Oh,
The
that's
next thing that
useful.
makes so much sense in Korea is
I don't think we have that. Yeah.
That's useful.
Cool. Yeah, that's a useful feature.
It's actually maps in bathrooms. In the rest areas, there are maps up that will tell you if somebody's in a stall or not. And that's because, especially in the rest areas, the bathrooms are huge. It's like a maze in there. And then also, when you go into
Okay, so this is like in a super big bathroom, not a small bathroom, but
That's
that's
good.
useful. That's useful. That is useful.
the stall and you close the door, locking the door brings down a little tray. And on that little tray, you can put your phone or your car keys or your lipstick, I don't know, whatever you have in your hand that can't go in a pocket. And a lot of Korean bathrooms in the public have the bidets, the electronic toilets, so you can go in and spray your butt with some water if you want to. And then it even has a drying function, so it'll dry your butt for you. Like, it's just, I love it. But speaking on rest areas, I have never been to such crazy, amazing, big rest areas. At least back in my day, when we're driving around, you go to a rest area, it's just kind of sad. It's a building. There's male, female bathrooms, and just some vending machines in the middle.
It depends. Here in Florida, we have big ass rest areas. Like, you know, when you go to Orlando or to Tallahassee, there's a big rest stop. So I think it depends. There's definitely small ones. Been to small ones too, but I think it depends on the area.
And then you don't even want to use those restrooms because they are real dirty and stinky, right? It's like, do I go to this rest area? Nah, I just hold it. There's only 3 more hours left. I can make it. But in Korea, each rest area has a food court, a freaking food court. Everybody in the family can
Yeah,
get whatever
same
food
here.
that they
There's
want to
food
have.
court.
There's always a big convenience store, several coffee shops. Outside, they even have street food stalls. So sometimes you can go there and get your favorite street foods. Like in the winter, they'll have my favorite sweet potatoes. Roasted sweet potatoes, roasted chestnuts. They'll be selling the grilled corn. It's like being in a fair. And my favorite thing is that places that are famous for certain local produce will have stores that sell that local produce there. So if you're going to an area that's known for its blueberries, which we did one time, there's just sell all the fresh blueberries that just came from the farm fresh that day. And you go and pack up your car with blueberries. There's one in Korea that me and Moon went to one time we were going somewhere, and it's just a whole shopping mall. Definitely makes road trips really fun. Another thing in Korea that just makes so much sense is the fact that funeral homes and the places where you have the funerals are connected to the hospitals. In 13 years in Korea, I've been to 3 funerals and they all were at hospitals. There's a separate ward where they do the
I don't like it. Makes you feel like you're going to a hospital, you're going to die. I'm okay with the way funeral homes are here. I don't need this at the hospital.
funeral services, etc. In my opinion, this is super efficient and it's also very convenient, especially because funerals in Korea typically last 2 to 3 days. So the family will go and stay there straight through. People can go to the funerals 2, 3 a.m. At the funeral, you go, you give your condolence money, you go in, there's a big portrait of the person who's deceased, you bow to that person, and then you go and have food and alcohol with the family members. And the hospital provides all of those services. They even have ATMs outside of each of the rooms so your guests can come, get the money, give you the money. It's a one-stop shop. But that sounds horrible. But that's how it is. But in my opinion, that's so much more convenient over the way that we do it in the West. In Korea, most people just get the people cremated. And there are places where you can go and rent space to keep the urns in. I just like in general how in most places in Korea, if there's a service that you need done, literally everything is done in that one space. So you don't have to go out looking for other places to do it.
That's
Next one.
efficient. That's one thing about South Korea. They're efficient.
Aprons in restaurants. I feel like in the US, places that do like crab boil, where they just put all the like crab and the corn and the potatoes on the table, they might give you like a plastic apron and like gloves to use just because it's so messy. But outside of that, I haven't seen aprons and gloves in restaurants. But in Korea, in any place where the food could be a little messy, especially if there's a big soup and the soup is red with spice that could get on your clothes and stain them, because let me tell you, that Korean red pepper paste, it does not come out of anything. You can always ask for an apron, even if you don't see any hung nearby. They typically will have aprons that they could give you. And along those lines, at some places when you go to eat fried chicken, they give you, sometimes it's a whole glove, but sometimes it's literally just for your 2
Oh,
fingers.
that's cool.
It's like a
I
2-finger
like
glove
that.
thing that you put on each hand and you just eat chicken like this.
That is so nice.
Now, since we are talking about restaurants, the thing I think makes the most sense in a restaurant that I kind of wish that we had in the US, I think maybe nowadays we do, because I did leave 13 years ago, back when people weren't really using that much technology, I guess. So there could be places that have them now, but that is bells at the restaurant to call the server over to you. I feel like in the US, when you want to get
So again, yeah, in small mom and pop shop, yeah, no, but
They can in mom and pops.
well, okay, I guess
yeah.
they could, but
Then I know.
I haven't seen it. But in the big chains like Applebee's and Chili's, they have like ordering machines, so like you can kind of order on the machine, and on the same machine you can call the waiter. So they do have in some places, yeah, but I wouldn't say it's mainstream, but I've seen it.
get the server's attention, you kind of got to raise your hand like
But yeah, I like it. I don't really like having to, hunt down the waiter or waitress. I think that having the machine is pretty cool. Just click the button and they know to come. I think that's cool.
You're in school, like, hey, hello. And then sometimes they don't see you or don't come like for a while. But in Korea, there's a bell. Ding dong, you ring it up at the front. I guess it tells the people what table was rung and then they come right over. But also in Korea, you're allowed to yell out loud to the server. So let's say you ring the bell and they're over there. The server might just yell out to you, what do you want? And then you just yell out really loud, I need this. And then they're like, okay. And then they bring it to you. At places where there isn't a bell,
I mean, you can yell here too, like people,
Really? No.
You can. You have to be a little obnoxious to do it. I wouldn't do it, but
No.
I feel like people can kind of. You could do it. I could see people doing it.
you just yell out loud.
It's
Yo,
just
yo!
I
Where?
personally wouldn't do
Where
it.
are you seeing
Like
this?
anywhere, like at a sports bar, you can like, it's just like, oh, excuse me. I know, like I can see it. Now, they're not gonna yell back at you. They're gonna come over. You're not gonna have a whole conversation yelling at each other, but
Yeah, just give me this, please. So I think that is much more efficient. I feel like in the West, we think it's a bit rude to be just saying, hey, come over here. It could be if that's not a part of your culture, but I think it's much more efficient. One thing that I felt really irritated when I went back to America was just having to wait on the damn server to see me raising my hand. Especially because in general, our restaurants are a little bigger than the Korean restaurants. It takes a lot more time just to get in, get the food, and get out. Another thing that I think is really efficient with the restaurants though in Korea is that you go up to the front to pay. So like right after everyone's ordered their food, the person will just bring the check right away.
I wouldn't mind that because sometimes you have to wait for a minute for them to bring a check, then come pick it up. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that they bring the check and then whenever you're ready, just on the way out you pay. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Way, and then when you guys have packed up and you're leaving the restaurant, you go to the front and then you pay and then leave, as opposed to waiting for them to come to the table, paying at the table. It takes too
Yeah.
much time. It's very, very efficient. You could literally go into a Korean restaurant, order your food, eat, be out, paid, 30 minutes, done. I feel like though a lot of these things make you have less patience. So I find myself wanting things like quicker, just from having been here so much. I feel like when I go back to America, people are gonna be like, girl, just wait. Should not take 25 minutes for the food to come out. The next thing in Korea that I just really like and I think makes so much sense is having cup holders outside of stores. So in a lot of stores, you're not allowed to bring your drink in it, but especially in Seoul, like people are walking around with their coffees, and if you want to go into a store, you don't want to have to scarf your coffee down before you go into the store. So there's like a sort of table and it has individual little cubbies in it, and everyone
Nah,
just
I'm
goes,
good.
puts their drink in
Weird.
that table, then you can go to the store, do whatever you
What we have charging stations.
Charging stations, yeah, but this cup, like, what the fuck? You put your cup, somebody, if they want to target you, they put some roofies in your cup, they follow you. Nah, this is just fucking weird. In Korea, it probably works because I don't know if there isn't that many creeps. We have safety bathrooms, so there must be creeps there too. I don't know. I would
I
not.
think there should be like an attendant, maybe.
I would not feel comfortable with just leaving my drink and then picking it up. Like, how do you know somebody didn't put some shit, or not just put it in? Maybe somebody, drank it or spit in it. Like, no, this is weird.
want, come out, and then continue drinking your drink. Another thing in Korea that's just really cool and makes so much sense is just face covers in fitting rooms when you're trying on clothes. And in a lot of places, they're not optional. Like if you go in and they see you got makeup on your face, they be like, you need to use this face cover so that you don't get makeup on these clothes. One-time use, everyone gets, and you put it over your head. Another thing in Korea that just
Interesting.
makes
That's
sense that I
smart.
actually really love are the heated bus stops. Like in the winter, if you're rolling through the town and you have to take a bus, you
That's
sit on the
cool.
bus stop. It's so warm and nice. God, it like makes all the difference when you're out there in the freezing cold trying to wait for your bus. And along those lines, I would say floor heating also, but you guys know that Korea has floor heating everywhere. In the US, it's split up. Like in some states, people use radiators. The problem with radiators is they don't cover everywhere. I feel like the space around the radiator is warm, but then the rest of the house is cold. The floor is cold. But then in some places, like where I was in Georgia, the houses typically would have heat that just blows on you from the air vents. And I also don't really like that because the hot air is gonna blow and you feel like your nose is just getting more dry and crusty. Your skin dry, cracks in your hands. So in Korea, how it works is there's a system of pipes under the floor and it brings hot water. And you can adjust the temperature of the hot water that flows under the floor so you just get a nice warm floor. And in a lot of cases, it also covers the bathroom as well. So you go in, the bathroom floors are warm. Even when you turn it off, it still stays warm for a while. The only thing I don't like is it does take a while to warm up. It's the only downfall, but I love it. The last thing in Korea that just makes so much sense are the Hojang Isa packing moving companies. The moving companies. So they come and sort of bring reusable boxes, put everything in the reusable boxes, and when you go into your new place, they open it up and put everything back almost where it was. And for things like, for example, your desktop, maybe there's little tiny things on the desktop, they just use like these stackable crates to put all your stuff in and move it so you don't have to deal with all the boxes and the waste and whatnot. But also it's so much more efficient. You don't have to use the tape and get all this crap and pack all this up. In Korea, Korea, before you move, you just typically have to throw away all the stuff that you don't want anymore. And they come in and do all the rest, and it's super affordable. And if you live in a huge high rise, they have these cranes that come and get the stuff up and down via the crane. And even when you
Whoa.
call the crane, it's so cheap. Comparatively, like if it was in America, I feel like it would cost like 10 grand or something to move a whole house and have a crane and have the boxes and whatnot. Whereas here in Korea, for us to move everything, it's not even $3,000. It's like 2 something thousand. And then you have to buy lunch for the workers there. But other than that, moving is pretty efficient and it makes a lot of sense to me. To make sure you don't miss out on the skincare.
That's so sweet. Buy them lunch. That's thoughtful.
The crates is pretty cool. Obviously here if they had it, they would charge the fuck out of you. But the idea, you know, that you don't have to waste carton, just tape up.
Yeah,
That's
even
pretty
for the
cool.
business itself, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it
smart.
yeah, because you could charge, you know, extra, and it's reusable, so you don't really like as a business. There's no expense. You already have it, right? So you don't. Because if you sell boxes to the people as a business, yeah, you make money, but then you also have to buy boxes too.
Yeah.
So there's cost of goods sold, you know, with the crates. It's just a rental. There's no that's a smart idea with the crates. That's a good one.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.